Heng, all yours.
Thank you, Chin Tong. Yeah, it took me quite a while. I also don't know where to start actually with the topic, but subsequently it just out of my sleep that I got the idea and then just continue from there lah. Okay, this issue I think was published in April, May. Next slide. Yeah. All right. As an introduction, next one. Okay, COVID-19, as you know, is a, I believe, no need to do much of an introduction also lah. But it is a very tiny virus that our naked eyes cannot see. Even a normal microscope also cannot see. Probably you need a high-end microscope to be able to track it. All right. So, and then it has caused havoc in our lifestyle and has caused tremendous economic damage globally. Imagine airlines, all that, tourism, all has been more or less wiped out. F&B outlet, all that. So a lot of unemployment and people are all resisting and then creating social unrest here and there. All right, since the outbreak in December, more than 35 million people has been infected worldwide. And of this, nearly 1 million deaths has happened since the beginning of October. All right, of course, before a vaccine can be found, naturally, the only way to prevent the virus is to prevent it by control it to end it. All right. So there's no other way. If we have no vaccine and no drug, one way, of course, is to prevent and control it. How we can go about to prevent and control, like what the government has been doing, quarantine. All right. We have to quarantine ourselves. Lockdown, all that kind of thing for a period. We have to isolate patients, people who suffer from COVID-19, make sure that they isolate themselves and stay away from their family member. And the medical fraternity can only do a symptomatic or supportive treatment to the patient. That means only when the symptom exists. What is the symptom? They just treat according to the symptom. If you have fever, they give you anti-fever. If you have no oxygen, they give you oxygen. If you need ventilator, they give you ventilator. And then the intubation put into your lung to create all this kind of to just keep you going. And of course, encourage everybody to boost your immunity, right, to prevent any viral infection. And of course, another thing is personal hygiene, wearing of masks and distancing, right? So you can see in Europe, in North America, people are resisting this kind of thing. That's why they have their second wave. So if you everywhere you go, you wear masks and you keep your distancing, I think generally we are safe. So other than trying to find out a new vaccine, right, the medical world also try to use existing antiviral drugs and see whether they can find a potential cure. So they have, remdesivir is one of them that has been widely promoted by Trump. You know, actually why it's widely promoted? Because they have spent so much. This Gillette science has spent so much in researching remdesivir, and it failed for hepatitis C, and they tried to use for Ebola, and for this Marburg virus. They're all found not effective. Even just recently, you hear the World Health Organization, they have mentioned that using of remdesivir and the other one, what is that? It's not effective at all. It doesn't shorten the hospital stay. The only effective drug for serious COVID-19 patients is the corticosteroid that can shorten and reduce and save lives. Okay, that is something that we can read in the papers lah. Okay, next slide. Okay, a simple summary about COVID-19. A lot of us has already read in the papers, like I said just now. I no need to go into it to talk about all the kind of symptoms, all the kind of thing. So what it is triggering inflammation in the lung, right? And possibly forming small blood clots, resulting in us not able to have oxygen. So as you know, oxygen is a major ingredient for our body. Without oxygen, our body cannot function, right? Okay, most patients, of course, will recover. As you can see just now, the statistics, 35 million people get infected, only about slightly over 1 million people die. So less than 3%. So of course, most people will recover. Why? We will talk about it later. And they do not require so-called support like oxygen, ventilator, all that. But for older people and for obese people, and also maybe for people with the three highs, people with metabolic syndrome, then the disease effect is more severe. Okay, right. So most of these COVID-19 patients, they become critically ill, usually because of the abnormal immune response caused by the excessive inflammation in the process of protecting the body. And as a result, it causes complications and damages to the lung, brains, and heart, and any possible side effects. And as a result, the patient dies. So you can see the patient don't exactly die from directly the lung infection, lung inflammation. They die because of their heart failure, all that kind of thing. Okay, next one. Okay, I mean the world is now talking about vaccine. Want to have vaccine, right? I just kind of have a slide that says here about how a vaccine works. Vaccine basically prepare the body immune system to fight the disease without exposing to the disease. As it is, like we all go for inoculation, this is the case. You have an inoculation, you may have a slight fever here and there, but generally you're better. How vaccine come about is usually using some weak viral and then develop from there. So when foreign invaders like bacteria or vaccine enter our body, the immune cells will respond by producing antibodies to fight the invaders, right, and protect the body from further infection. This is how our body works, right? Now, if we encounter these invaders for the first time, our body will take some time, right? Maybe more than 7 days to respond. By then, it may be too late. To some people, the virus already invaded the whole every part of their body, such that by the time it come on, they cannot fight. Just like you are going to a war, if you send a platoon go and fight a battalion, how to do it? A platoon only has about maybe 30 over people. A battalion has, if I'm not wrong, has about 500-600 people, right? So as it is, a vaccine causes the body immune system to produce the antibodies to fight the antigen, okay, and memorize it when it is infected the second time. So our body will be protected, right? So as you can see here, vaccine is to generate antibodies in our system, okay? So I mean, like some country, they want to talk about herd immunity. Why? They want to get everybody to be infected, so everybody is immune, so naturally will not be the disease will die out. But that's not possible, huh? Okay, right. So next one, that's about the vaccine now, huh? Vaccine, as you can see, is to help us produce antibodies to tackle the virus, right? So what can Ling do to help in COVID-19? Okay, let's look at Ling here. Right, next one. Okay, Ling as mentioned in the official Chinese pharmacopoeia of traditional medicinal herbs, right? It has effects as follows: tonic, 养生 it strengthen your physique make you more alert, more healthy Then also it helps for people with lung deficiency, cough, asthma, shortness of breath, right? Last time I have I know someone who cannot who have COPD. After taking Ling he find that he can breathe better. Normally he take 10 steps, he cannot breathe. He has to sit. After taking Ling he can probably walk a few hundred meters. Okay, this is just example Ling help in restlessness, insomnia, palpitation, heartbeat, and people who just don't feel like eating. Of course, not those people who don't feel like eating because they want to cut, they want to reduce weight. No, people who want to eat but just since they cannot swallow cannot eat at all. Okay, so and then as it is, there are many Ling based drugs that has been approved for marketing. So this also telling you that Ling has been safe and has been tested many times for all this disease prevention and treatment. Okay, that's why it has been approved for sale in the pharmacy. Okay, next one. Okay, that is what is in the book about what Ling can do in the Chinese pharmacopoeia. But modern scientific research have also shown that Ling can enhance immune function, which is what is just now we mentioned about it. Immunity is a very critical fight to prevent COVID-19. Ling has also been scientifically proven that it can help us when you are fatigued, improve your sleep, antioxidant, remove of free radicals. These free radicals is one that is causing a lot of problems in all those unstable cells. Okay, it can protect your heart, lungs, brains, liver, kidneys, and any of those related effects. Okay, there have been reports about Ling being used clinically or as adjuvant to treat chronic bronchitis recurrent respiratory infection, asthma, and other related disease. So breathing problem, people with breathing problem has been using Lingzi, right? And you know, COVID-19 is an inflammation of the lung. Okay, so this is one area that we can look at. Okay, next one. Right, role of Lingzi. We talk so much about how Lingzi help. Now finally we come to it. Okay, Lingzi can play. Lingzi plays a role in COVID-19 is by enhancing our immune system. Right, by indirectly inhibiting the virus from invading the body and prevent its proliferation and damages. All right, just now, as you can see that I mentioned about COVID-19 is an inflammation of the lung, cause blood clots, right? Maybe I should add in, why is it that those people with poor immune system, the virus multiply very fast, right? Lingzi can help to prevent this multiplication, right? And also can reduce the damages, right? The other point to note here is that our body immune system is a very powerful natural barrier in our body to protect. Okay, it's a natural system. It's a powerful natural system that can protect our body. Okay, no matter what kind of virus or bacteria, when it comes to our body, right, only a matter of time. Our body will be ultimately able to produce an antibody to destroy it. Okay, so I mean, it must be natural lah. Something that is on. Sometimes, of course, it takes some time. So it all depending on a person's immune system. Are they able to respond? How fast can they respond? Okay, right. So it's only a matter of time. If the response is say within 3 days, respond within 1 week, or people with immune system that are compromised, maybe they take 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the immune system respond. That will be slow. So that's why these are the people with a lot of problems, because the virus will overwhelm them, then they can't do anything anymore. All right. Okay. How? Just now I mentioned about Lingzi. Next slide. Just now I mentioned about Lingzi enhancing our immune system. So let's look at the immune system itself. Okay. First, Lingzi enhances the non-specific immune function. This non-specific function, immune function, is exactly the same as the innate immune system in our body. Okay, it enhances the phagocytic activity of macrophages and natural killer cells. What is this? This is, it enhances our immune cells, like this macrophage and natural killer, to activate. It bring them to life, to eat up all these virus. You know, phagocyte is eating like this Pac-Man game. You know, this macrophage is a cell that go around eating all the virus or bacteria, anything that is foreign, right? And the natural killer cell also go about to kill it. There are different ways to go about to do it lah. Macrophage is go about to eat it, and natural killer cell is go about to kill it. So the other thing is, Lingzi also promote the proliferation, differentiation, and function of dendritic cells. Okay, what is this? It proliferation and differentiation. That means it get it to multiply more, and and be more alert, such that when an antigen or a virus that comes into the body is now called antigen now, they will be alert to activate the B cells and the T cells to produce an immune response. All right, to produce immune system to produce more antibody to fight this virus. And remember it, this B cell and T cell is to do that. Okay, that will be the next slide I'll talk about. So as you can see here, this is the first level of defense in our body that prevent the virus and the bacteria from entering our body. This one, the first, the non-specific immune functions are things like in our nose lah, our mouth lah, our skin lah. They are the one that prevents all this from coming into our body. Okay, next one. Okay, second, just now we talk about B cells and C cells. Second, Ling enhance the humoral and cellular immunity. This, of course, what is this? One is to produce the cell. One is to produce and killer cell. Okay, they promote the production of immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin is an antibody, which is what the purpose of a vaccine is all about, to get our body to produce antibody, right? So Ling can help our body to produce antibody like immunoglobulin M and G. These are antibodies that can help us to fight virus. Okay, and Ling at the same time increase the proliferative response of T lymphocyte, T cells, and B cells. These T cells is producing, B cell is a memory cell, T cell is producing all the killer cells, more killer cells. Just now we have the first level of the natural killer cell. This T cell that is being produced by the cellular immunity is the more specific killer cell to kill the particular virus. That's why they have to memorize it, so that when we attack again, they will remember. So as you can see here, Ling already help us to activate and make it more active, our body system to respond to any of this viral infection, right? On top of all this, Ling also help to promote the production of mediator cytokines, right? Like interleukin-1, interleukin-2, interferon gamma, which is type 2 to regulate the inflammation and immune response. Right, just now also as introduction, remember I mentioned about why people die from COVID-19 is because they have a so-called abnormal immune response. Sometimes they call it immune storm. So-called suddenly the immune system wake up and then create so many antibodies, so such that the antibody overwhelm and become attacking the body. All right, and at the same time probably also may cause autoimmune problem for people. And then also mentioned just now about inflammation, right? So this mediator cytokine in Ling can help to regulate inflammation such that the inflammation will not result in damages to the body. So as you can see here, normally the immune system at the same time it regulates it. It doesn't allow it to go out of balance. Okay, next one. All right, so you can see here I mentioned humoral cellular immune system is actually our second line of defense. It targets and destroys any viruses or bacteria that break through the initial barrier, the first barrier. So that means our body system has two levels, and both levels has been activated by Ling. Right, first level, they make it very active. Any virus that come in, they will tackle it. At the same time, they also make the second level active to work on fast, right? Instead of a normal person taking 7 days, a normal healthy person taking 7 days to respond in an immune situation, by taking Ling, maybe you take 3 days, 4 days. And that kind of time is crucial for people with immune compromised situation, right? So that's why I see here, people with low immunity, Ling can also increase their immunity. So it doesn't mean that low immunity you cannot. Like people with illness, people with what do you call that? Lupus, where the immunity is very low. It has been shown that if they take enough Ling, their immunity can increase to normal level. Okay, these are all examples. Right. So other than immunity, Ling also mentioned just now, remove free radical. And this free radical is a very important cells in the body that result in causing our cell to be unstable and can result in cancer all that kind of other illnesses. So and then because it causes damages to our other organs, right? Okay, next one. All right, so we spoke so much about Ling and its immune system. Of course, now we look into some research on antiviral effects of Ling since 1980. Although there is no particular research on COVID-19 yet, but I believe soon it will be one. But for the time being, I think a lot of countries, they like to be very proprietary in keeping the virus to themselves first, to do research on their own, because it's all money. Imagine the Trump's recent infection, and then he used the monoclonal cell to treat him, and that monoclonal cells come from 3 patients in Singapore. These are examples. Okay, so to try to do research at this moment may be a problem, because countries would like to keep the cells themselves to study first before they release it to the public. Okay, all right, we look at some other antiviral effects. Okay, first one we look at is anti-hepatitis virus. Next one, small. Okay, This 1989 research by Zack Chang of Beijing Medical University. This has only appeared in the Chinese press, Chinese university, so it's not published. That's why it's a bit difficult for me to quote the report date. It was found that Liang inhibits this hepatitis B DNA polymerase. This polymerase is one that gets the hepatitis B DNA to multiply. In medical term, they call replicate. Right? So the study proved that Liang can help to prevent this replication in liver cancer cells, right? From secreting hepatitis B surface antigen. You know, hepatitis B surface antigen, if one is tested positive for it, that means indicate that there is hepatitis B in the body lah. So when you inhibit and the replication, this ultimately this hepatitis B surface antigen will be reduced. All right. So the research then go on to do an in vivo study through the ducks. When it comes to hepatitis study, most of them do the animal study through ducks. Right? The ducks were fed with 50 milligrams of Liang per kilo twice daily for 10 days. And at the end of it, they found out that it reduced hepatitis B infection. Right? That means hepatitis B DNA lah. And at the same time, they also find that the hepatitis B DNA polymerase is also reduced. This polymerase is one that so-called cause the multiplication. So if you can cut short the multiplication, ultimately the hepatitis B virus will die itself. Okay, so that's why the conclusion for the research was that Liang has an inhibitory effect against hepatitis B. HBV is hepatitis B lah. Okay, next one. In another study by YQ Lee, the title of the paper is Anti-Hepatitis B Activities Ganoderma Acid. I mean here, all this research, I want to say that I just simply mentioned the summary, that's all. If you want to read further in details, of course now in this internet era, you just key in the title, you'll get the access to the abstract, then you can read on it. If you want to go into more details, some have free access, some probably have to pay. So we over here, we just simply mention the summary. Okay, as you can see here, it shows that studies use Ganoderma acid, which is carotenoid from Liang, clearly inhibits this replication of hepatitis B virus, which is actually the same as the first study, right? It's more or less the same. They tell you that it also inhibits this replication of hepatitis B virus. But here, they use cells that are infected with cancer, liver cancer cell, and infect it with hepatitis B virus. And then they find out that it can inhibit this cancer cell from producing hepatitis B polymerase. So that's why they say Liang inhibit hepatitis B replication by inhibiting the production of the surface antigen. Surface antigen is, like I said just now, if you are positive, that means you have hepatitis B. Then the core antigen, that means it's spreading. Right? They all can be inhibited. As you can see here, it shows that Liang can significantly protect people with hepatitis B and also have shown that Lingzi can also protect the test subject from liver injury. I mean, all this research in Lingzi tend to be either done on an in vitro basis or on animal tests. Because the other thing is there is no point in going to clinical level because we are not going into a drug level. But you want to say clinical level is just like all of us consuming Lingzi over time, we feel better. These are all clinical trials. And Lingzi has been in the market have been in use in China and in the Far East for the few thousand years. All these are clinical trials, thousands of years of clinical trial. Isn't it the same? Right, next one. Okay, the other virus we talk about, anti-influenza virus. Okay, so another anti-influenza study by YT Zhu of Guangzhou TCM University. Right, this also only available in China, so it wasn't published in any Western media, Western magazine, so that's why it's not available here. I cannot quote the title. And they found that the extract, they find the mice that is fed with Lingzi increases the survival rate and time. I mean, people who are infected with F1 strain of influenza for the right mice maybe will die after a while. So those who are fed with Lingzi, they survive longer, right? And more of them survive. Also, so it's also one proof of the possible antivirus capability of Lingzi, right? Montana did a study on Lingzi tripentanoid, right, on influenza and herpes simplex virus, and also show that it has this antiviral activity. Okay, this one you can, you want to access the report, the title is there. You can always go to and access it, right? Most of this research, sometimes they extract from different Lingzi species, or they use different chemical compound of Lingzi to test it, right? Influenza A, H1N1 is a respiratory disease, right? They're caused by a strain of influenza virus that spread through direct contact and bodily functions of infected person. You know, in America, influenza A before this COVID-19 already caused many death and infection, all right? So, but it wasn't widely reported, right? So influenza A is also not a killing virus that is should be swept aside. It is one that is also dangerous, and this Lingzi has shown a research in it, right? And some of the Lingzi magazine have also shown that people with influenza A, after taking it, has recovered well, right? So over here, I did not go through any of those testimonial. Maybe if Shindong have a chance, Shindong can go through it.
Okay.
All right. Next one, anti-HIV virus. HIV virus is another killer virus that came out from the America in the mid-80s, right? And has been, I think they use a cocktail of drugs to solve it nowadays. But of course, more and more drugs are coming out to look at it effectively. I imagine remdesivir is one of those that actually originally also intend to develop for it, but Gilead has other drugs that develop on it. Okay, this S. McCauley sounds like Middle Eastern people. Found that terpenoids extracted from links were active as anti-HIV agent. Oh, I did not go into detail on it. This is just a summary. This is just to show you that this research has shown that links is anti-HIV. So that means it's effective to some extent. It can control, you see. BS mean in another study also show that links have significant anti-HIV protease activity, right? Inhibiting the protease, or what? How you pronounce it? Stop the virus from replicating. So this is the whole idea is to prevent the virus from replicating, multiplying in our body to a level that our immune system cannot tackle, right? So if links can inhibit this protease, at least it can stop the virus from replicating and let our immune system work on it, right? And J. Sato, also same thing. He showed that links terpenoid has inhibitory effect against HIV protease too. So this one is also a different chemical compound. So as you can see, they all find that it can limit HIV from multiplying further in our body. Okay, next one. Anti-herpes virus. Right? They do in vitro study of the antiviral activity of terpenoid from links by cytopathic effect. Cytopathic effect is basically one that make the host cell not able to prevent the virus from taking over the host cell and replicating. Right? So they use that method to make a study and find out that it can inhibit herpes and the vascular stomatis virus from invading further. And yet this links has no toxicity. Right now, recently this Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, they stopped the vaccine trial briefly. Why? Because there was some toxicity. Some of the test patients were unwell. Whereas over here, you can see that links has no toxicity, right? So therefore, it is safe, right? J. Liu in 2005 used polysaccharide, one of the ingredient you can find in links, and then he cultured it with this herpes virus in viral cells, right? And found that links can inhibit herpes virus from binding to the cell. So when it cannot bind, that means it cannot spread, right? Right now, imagine our body, why COVID-19 is, they cannot have some drugs to cure COVID-19 because these drugs cannot bind to the cells. That's why, that's the case. And then it prevent this binding. Here in this case is in the early stages of infection. Okay, right. Another one on herpes. Herpes is actually a very common disease, and not many known drugs is available in the market. People who suffer from herpes every few months may have a flare-up. Okay. Also, Iwatsuki from Japan found that the tryptanoid from Liang inhibit the early antigen activation of Epstein-Barr virus. This virus is a very common virus also, and it can cause chronic inflammation, cancer, and autoimmune disorder. So Liang can help to prevent it from an early activation. So that means it do not activate it right away, so that your body can come out and with the immune system to tackle it. Okay. And DSN, also tryptanoid from Liang, Ganoderma lucidum, inhibit the activation of EBV, which is Epstein-Barr virus. EBV stands for the Epstein-Barr virus. Antigen as telomerase inhibitors. Telomerase is the tail of a DNA. DNA, when it keep on multiplying, up to a certain point, it has to stop, right? So, Liang more or less prevent it from keep on multiplying unlimitedly, right? When you multiply sometimes for too long, after a while, the multiplication become very ridiculous. Just like when in our normal game, when you pass a message, initially the message was okay, but when it comes to the 10th person, the message become garbage. So this is one example of a telomerase inhibitor. So it inhibits the telomerase. Found that found that extracted Liang can significantly inhibit the early activation of Epstein-Barr virus antigen, and thus reduces the viability of nasal carcinoma NCF cells. Right. This is also partly using the nasal carcinoma cell to study. Okay, the Newcastle disease. Newcastle disease is a bird flu. Actually, doesn't affect humans so much. I mean, if human get infected, probably it will be a very minor flu-like symptom, that's all. But to the avian, to the birds, to the poultry, they are deadly and contagious, right? So if a poultry farm discovered that they have Newcastle disease, they got to wipe out the whole stock before it spread further. And the study by Samiki showed that tryptanoid from Liang can inhibit the activity of the neuraminidase enzyme. Inhibiting this enzyme prevents the reproduction of the virus. The virus come into our body, got to reproduce. They either take over the host cells or they split up depending on what kind of virus to reproduce. So when Liang inhibit this neuraminidase, it prevents the virus from multiplying. Okay. Dengue, anti-dengue virus. Dengue is a very common virus in our region. I guess in our tropical Southeast Asia, you commonly hear about dengue spread by mosquitoes. Even right now, there's still dengue death. People always say when you suffer from dengue, you better make sure you don't fall. Right? There's no drug for it. You just need to drug only given for symptoms. Okay. Right. So the study found that if they feed the links to the test subject, it can inhibit the protease from spreading. That means inhibit the protease, and enzyme has been proposed. You know, triptanoid extracted from links inhibits the protease of dengue. Right here, they are using this strain of dengue, the NS2B, which is one of the 4 types of dengue. Right? When you inhibit the protease, that means it will stop the virus from multiplying. Everything written here, so you can read through it. Okay, the other one is antiviral. I think this is the last one. Antiviral, which is the antiviral is the one that causes hand, foot, and mouth disease. Okay, hand, foot, and mouth disease is very common for children below 10. Especially in kindergarten, we always hear about hand, foot, and mouth disease outbreak. I mean, of course, if it is caused by the most common one, Coxsackie virus, is okay, because this one only causes mild infection, nothing serious. After a while, you'll go off. But if you get this one caused by EV71 strain, then it's a big thing. Okay, this EV71 can cause severe neurological and systemic complication resulting in death. Right? There was one time an outbreak in China of this EV71, and it caused quite a number of deaths in the children. Okay, so hand, foot, and mouth, although it is nothing very serious, but it is still serious if it is a different strain. All right? A study by W. Chang found out that triptanoid extracted from links has significant anti-EV71 activities and no cytotoxicity. Right? So that's why we always talk about giving children our lactoberry, links, yes, especially if they want to go to kindergarten, they will not face with this kind of potential danger, right? How links prevent EV71 is that it prevents EV71 from binding to the cells. And I believe now all of you know what is binding to the cell, huh? So the virus has to bind to the whole cell, then it can multiply. So if we prevent it from binding to the cell, therefore the virus cannot multiply, right? So when the virus cannot multiply, the virus will naturally die off in the body. Okay, so now we come to the conclusion. Okay, above researchers has shown that the antiviral activities of links against many types of viruses. Viruses, I shout out the viruses. Although there are not particular research in terms of COVID-19, like I said just now, but this research on the various antiviral activity of links helps you that can help your immune body, our immune system, to protect our body, be it herpes lah, be it influenza lah, be it anything. Now that is COVID-19, it will still be able to help. All right. So how we do so? It enhance and promote the lymphocyte in our immune system, right? And also it prevents the virus from replicating and spreading inside the body. So at least it doesn't cause an our body immune system overwhelm our body immune system that we cannot handle. That's like right now. Why every country is trying to control COVID-19? Because we want to overhaul the health system. It's the same thing. So we don't want the virus to overwhelm our body system, and Linzi can help to inhibit this virus from replicating, so it will not overwhelm our body, and as a result, our immune system will be able to tackle it, right? And of course, immune is one thing. Linzi, as I mentioned just now, has antioxidant. Even if you get hit, it go through your body immune system. All right, before your body can come up with the antibody to tackle it, the antioxidation will prevent any potential damages that this virus will cause to your body. So by taking Linzi, it helps you to recover fast, right? Because why? It make your immune system active. Your immune system will respond very fast. Maybe like people 3 days, 1 day, 7 days to respond, you 3 days you respond, right? After you respond, if people with immune compromised situation, right, they have so-called prevent any damages that may result from the immune storm that is caused by the virus attack. Okay, yeah. With that all, I end my sharing. Thank you very much. I hope anyone have any question. Because anyway, if you want to read more of the research, you have to go through it. Go and access through the internet to read the detail because to go through everything here will be too time consuming. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you to Mr. Heng